Dan Hooker, you're moving back to featherweight as a surprise to probably no one now that you've talked about it a lot. You've done your little, what's the word, trial weight cut, and all went well. You must have been happy enough to commit to going down that pathway.
Yeah, I was like already adamant that I was going to do it, and then like, I don't know, you just know that people were going to just like, there's going to be a lot of people kicking up a fuss, so I just went in ahead and did it. That's kind of the beauty of being an adult. You just make a decision and then follow through with it, and everyone else has just got to kind of live with it. But yeah, I can't really understand why it's that big of a surprise. Like, I've spent like a large proportion of my career fighting in that weight class, so it's no real, I can't understand. Like, the real surprise to it, it's like I was 27 fighting at featherweight. It's like you hardly have a 27-year-old growth spurt, so like, it was quite comfortable for me to make it back then. So it's just no real, like, it's hard. Like, it would be impossible for like most people, but for me it's very manageable.
So I mean, back then you weren't using all the science that you are now in terms of the weight cut.
For sure. It's just like advanced so much. Like the UFC didn't even have a PI, let alone a nutrition department, and they like, now they fly out nutritionists to your fight, and we've got our own nutritionist with Geordie. So it's like you're working with the just absolute best guys in the world now. And they just make it like easier and easier. So it's definitely like, it's a big cut, but it's like within like safe range, like within like the suggested range by the best guys in the world, for sure.
When you did that trial cut, how much easier was it doing that one than cutting in the past?
It's just a bigger cut. It's just like when I used to fight at featherweight, I used to just like diet down like a bit closer, and then just not really do like a big water cut. I'm pretty much like the same, just like a little bit more diet than lightweight, and then just like a big water cut. Like, I pretty much like don't have to water cut at all for 55. Like, it got to the point where I'm just taking the piss. Like, I'm just can do whatever I want and still step on the scale at that weight, so it become like too easier. So it's just like a little bit more diet and like a decent water cut.
You get to fight Arnold Allen, who's a pretty interesting matchup for you. At featherweight he seemed like he had a little bit of a range advantage, a little bit of height, but I mean, that's not going to be the case against you, is it?
Yeah, it's like the actual I'm actually excited for the actual style of that fight, because we are pretty similar in the way that we fight. Like, fighting like long, he likes to fight long on the outside, like shoot for like his body lock and work like his body lock takedown. So it's like, I'm like real interested in the actual style wise. It's like a real funny fight, because I've been watching Arnold for like a long time. Like, I've been aware of him for like a long time, and what he's been doing. 8-fight win streak is it's like one of the longest in the UFC. If you got an 8-fight win streak, you're positioning yourself for a title shot. Like, that's just what it is. So to take that momentum that he's got behind him is like the real like motivating factor for this fight.
Yeah, I was watching some highlights the other day of his, and like you say, it's a very similar sort of style to yourself. Not only the stand-up, but he's got a sneaky good guillotine too.
Yeah, well, our grappling style is pretty similar as well. Like, the things that we go for, like the things that we're good at. It's quite funny. It will be quite interesting to see how that kind of plays out, like whether we get in some crazy good scrambles because we're pretty much going for the same stuff, or whether like we kind of just completely cancel each other out. I don't know how like that side of it's gonna work, but I'm definitely, that's like your main focus on for like the training camp. It's like the actual like technical side of things that you don't focus on like what you're gonna get out of it if you win or anything like that. Like your main focus when you're training and in the gym and spending time on the mats is like how the fight will actually play out in that technical aspect.
I know we're moving away from lightweight for now. You're still ranked number 8. Not such a good run in the last 4, but I mean you've been against top guys. When you look at what's coming next, I know you're making this move to featherweight. Are you just going to be able to go up and down if fights come, or are you going to have to sort of commit to featherweight for now and then go from there?
Like I could like that's yeah, I could like bounce around and do whatever, but that's not like what the UFC likes. The UFC doesn't really like you jumping around weight classes. Like if you're gonna make a shift in a weight class, the UFC wants you to like commit to one, because it's kind of hard to build momentum in a division, or if you're actually like positioning yourself in a division, it's hard for them to kind of push you or promote you towards a title shot if you're jumping around divisions, and people are like unsure about what you're just doing. So yeah, with the move to featherweight, it's definitely like a commitment for the foreseeable future, for the next, I could do it for the next couple of years. But yeah, whether it's a year, 2 years, like who knows? Hardly gonna sit there for forever,
How is life in Vegas? Obviously you're back in New Zealand now, but a prolonged sort of stay over in the States?
No, it was good. It was like real enjoyable. Like we had like a real cool pad in Summerlin in Vegas, which is like actually quite a like chill part, a relaxed part of Vegas. Like once you actually live there, it's you get a bit kind of further and further away from the strip. But no, it was real cool being there with Frank Hickman, him teaching at Syndicate, like training at Syndicate, training with Frank, wrestling with Frank. Every day my game developed. Just to go all into something, like just wrestling all day, like every day, it was quite good to just focus on that one thing and make some improvements in like that single aspect of your game. But yeah, at the same time, like getting to travel around. Went to New York as well, which is like an awesome city as well. So yeah, got to travel, which a lot of people are not getting to do at the moment. So I'm quite grateful for that.
Did you get along to any Raiders games, and did you convert into a Raiders fan, or is NFL not for you?
I'm a bit of a college ball guy. Nah, Frank's like big into his college balls. I was watching more college. Old Alabama got pipped in the final. The old Texas U didn't make it to the playoffs this year, but there's always next year. But no, it's like a real sporting culture over there. Like they're huge into their football. It's like football, basketball, and like baseball. It's like they're real in hockey. Got to went to a Golden Knights game, went to a Raiders game, which is awesome. It's just like everyone knows. Everyone's got a football team over there. Like absolutely everyone will have a football team, and they wear their shirts, and they're so like die-hard passionate for their football team. It's like a huge sporting culture over there, which is like real cool.
Kind of segueing a little bit and getting off topic. No one's going to care about this, but it's interesting you say that. Like you go to a sporting game in New Zealand, and the atmosphere is like dead. Like, unless
like,
it's an All Blacks game.
Yeah, they're like, but even at the All Blacks, like they're not. I get like they're passionate, like they're definitely passionate. They got the T-shirt, they got the flag, might have like a bit of paint on their face, But over there, like I say, like a die-hard fan, like you will go to a game and they tailgate before the game, which is like so they're there like hours before the game, and these people have got costumes, and these people have got tattoos, and these people are they're so diehard, like committed. Like we finished the Raiders game, and we're walking out in the car park, and like the Raiders won, and it was a close game, and there are people in tears. Like there's people with like full on like Raiders gear, like outside, like in tears, like crying, and that's something that you wouldn't see like in New Zealand. Like people are pretty like, oh yep, sweet, they won, like let's go have some beers or something. Like it's a bit more relaxed. Like they're like die hard, like falling over. Their team won, like they're ecstatic, it was crazy to see. It's like real cool to be over there and experience it. Same as the hockey at like the Golden Knights, like your team scores, like absolutely you stand up and just high five like everyone within like arms. Like, it's like the tradition. You stand up and just high five everyone you could possibly reach with your hand. You like high five that person. And wearing masks, I was like, this is I'm taking this off, this is a waste of time.
Fair enough. And just finally on the Raiders, shout them out for getting the Steelers into the playoffs. Even though the Steelers got rolled in week 1, we still got to the playoffs. Anyway, back to the UFC. Heading to London, I mean, we talked about rowdy crowds. England are pretty well known for being pretty rowdy, especially when Sweet Caroline comes on. That place is going to go nuts. Just what are your expectations for fighting over there, and do you feel like that environment might be a little bit hostile towards you fighting against one of their own?
Oh, you'd have to expect it. You'd have to expect them to pack the hometown boy. But nah, like I've had nothing but like positive, like people just pumped to see me come over there and fight. That's like my main motivator for that fight is like somewhere new. Like I haven't been to the UK before. Like get to go somewhere new, travel to somewhere new, and like I've heard about the O2. I've heard about like the English fans, like how wild they get, how crazy, how loud they get. And I want to see for myself, because I've heard like the fans in Australia, I've heard the fans in New Zealand, and that like just that hometown passion is absolutely unbeatable in a UFC event. So like that's my main motivator, is to like go over there and just experience that, like have that experience of like those passionate fans and how wild they get. Because like go wild, like go, you paid your money, you got your ticket, like make as much noise as you possibly can. That's what I'm there for. And hopefully we can put on just the absolute barn burner of a fight and make them go even more nuts, which is the real reason for going over there, is to go over there and experience something like that.
When you did decide to commit to this move to featherweight, did you sort of have to look at your last loss to Islam, how that happened, and sort of approach where you are in your career as to what you want to achieve? Like, do you feel like the lightweight belt was something that was still attainable, or did you have to sort of reflect on that and maybe think featherweight is the path for you?
Oh, it's like, of course, it's like an honest reflection at the actual position, and how you're gonna get there as like soon as possible, or as like quickly as you would like to. And that's like the reality. It's not that I don't think I can beat any of those guys in that division. That's not like the reason that I went down. But the reality of the situation is like 3 of the top 5 you've got losses against. So you would have to wait until the landscape of the division changed. So for the next year, 18 months, you would have to like kind of tread water, or like go backwards and fight, and like like the stage I'm at now in my career, that doesn't get me out of bed like it would in the past, and or instead of that, like get down to a weight class which I've fought at in the past, which I feel very comfortable fighting at, and go straight back in the mix. Like you're getting a guy on an 8-fight win streak who you get a win over, you're in title contention after 1 win. So that's what it is. It's you want to be world champion. It's like how do you get there? How do you get there as soon as possible? So that move down to featherweight is exciting in itself, because you put yourself straight back in the mix. Like there's no, I'm not moving down there to tread water. I'm moving down there to work my way towards something that I want. It's just like that's my plan. I have a plan to be world champion, and now that's my plan. I'm doing my plan still.
When Arnold Allen came across the table, I know you had sort of mentioned a lot of other guys, Brian Ortega, Korean Zombie. Did the UFC bring any of those to you, or was it straight to Arnold?
No, Arnold, because Arnold's like a great fight. Like that's what I wanted, right? Like I bumped into Sean, and then obviously I asked for Korean Zombie, and he's getting a title shot. When he asked me that and I said those names, it's just you're setting your intention for the division. That's like all it is. Like you say the best guys in the division, like it's like, oh, like he's not going down there to muck around, you know. He's going down there to go after the gold. Like that's like the main motivator for going down. I forgot the question now.
That pretty much sums it up. In terms of, I guess, managing the nutrition and stuff, obviously your wife's away. How are you coping in the kitchen?
She actually doesn't help me lose weight at all, to be honest. She's just helps me put weight on. She's just like to make lightweight. All I do is like literally stop eating what my wife cooks for like 3 weeks, and then I'm like actually on, because she's Spanish, so we eat lasagnas and pastas and
just lots of good eating.
Just good eat, like too good to be true. So it's just like when I cook for myself, I'm actually pretty rubbish. So like, don't taste that good, so I don't eat that much. Like it's just rocket science. That's like the easy way. It's a lot easier when you're poor. Like I remember when I was being poor and cutting, like it's very easy. You just can't afford to go out and eat. So you eat bread and tuna, and it's very easy to diet. But nah, it's all good. My friend just dropped me off. Friend Tom just dropped me off a big case of venison. So diet's kind of on hold because there's burger patties and venison sausages. So it's gonna take a couple of weeks to get through. So we'll get through that, and then we'll get back on a diet, and then she should be right.
I guess just lastly, you're not the only one here in fight camp. The boys on 270 are sort of winding down. Yourself and Kai are just starting up. I know a lot of the time in the past you've said you wanted to get back on wavelength with the boys. How has it been back in the gym now?
No, it's good, like to just be around your teammates and guys, and just be around everyone else, like your physio, strength coach, like all my guys. There's a lot of people that are like invested in you doing well, so it's good to be around those people, and you can kind of catch that energy, or that kind of motivates you, because they just want the best for you as well. So it's being around the team is incredible. You know, it's incredible. That's like why we're here in New Zealand, is that you can't replicate this anywhere else in the world. That's why it's so important to be here and be with this team and commit to this team. And so it's been nothing but great. You know, I've been back 2 weeks at camp, and I feel incredible, because it's been like 4 or 5 months outside of the gym and not having this. So to have this back again has just been outstanding.
All right, this is my actual last question.
You can have as many as you want.
Yeah, well, I know you got places to be. In terms of traveling, we've been here before. At this stage, they're not granting any new MIQ spots while they're dealing with the whole breakout at the moment. You're not going to be able to get back home at this stage again, are you?
Nah, I don't really care. Like, I'm honestly over it. Like, no one cares. Like, I'll just go on holiday. Like, I'll go. My missus is locked out as well, so I'll go fight in the UK, and then who knows? Go travel. I can go any country in the world except my own house, which is like but yeah, like I'm not worried about it. Like I'm not scared of it. Like I've had COVID. It was not bad at all. Like I'm not one of the people that it affects badly. Like I'm not worried about it now. Like you can just go out and just live your life and have some fun. I've seen that people are buying. I saw that one. I'm probably giving away my secret here. You just get a transit flight through New Zealand. Some people, they've kept it pretty quiet, but you just get a transit flight through New Zealand and say then you don't need an MIQ spot, or you don't have to wait on an MIQ spot because you just say you're transiting through New Zealand. Then you just get to New Zealand and say, you know what, I changed my mind, and they have to find you a spot in MIQ.
Yeah, that seems like a
Well,
real
that's how
hack.
they've been skirting. That's how they've been skirting the law, because the law is you can't stop New Zealander from entering New Zealand. Like, that's just the law. But they're stopping them getting on the plane, which is like the way that they're skirting the law, which is a bit of a kick in the nuts. But yeah, like if you just I'll just buy a transit flight. Let's buy a transit flight, come home, no worries.
I'm sorry, you said you had COVID already? When
Yeah,
was that?
yeah, I had it. New York. I was there for like 12 days. I was there like, only a couple of days, like 4 or 5 days. Did a test, positivo, but nah, like I was like asymptomatic or whatever. And then in the US, you just gotta stay home. If it's asymptomatic, you just stay home for 5 days. That's all you got to do. So we just stayed home for 5 days. Like, yeah, me, my wife had it. So I assume my kid had it, but didn't skip a beat. Didn't skip a beat. Not a cough, not a runny nose. So yeah, like that was clean and clear. Got right through that.
All good, man. Well, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for the time, as always.
No trouble.